Welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And this is Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder. And today's episode is brought to you by Original Sprout. All of Original Sprout's products are paraben and phthalate-free, vegan, and cruelty-free. And today's episode is also brought to you by Fairhaven Health. If you love lactation tea but hate the taste, Nursing Time Tea is right for you. And we will hear more from our sponsors later. But you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page if you ever need anything. See if you can give them any of your business because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, you can scroll down and enter your email address, and we will send our episodes straight to your inbox every week. And now Dianne has our review of the week.
And our review of the week ties in with today's episode. We always know that I try to do that, but it doesn't always work out well. I just,
You sound so excited about that.
Because I love myths episodes.
It sounds like you have a big smile on your face.
I do. I probably look like this huge dork because I've got these, these big headphones on and my glasses.
I don't know. Yeah, we haven't talked about this in a really long time, but Dianne and I don't know if anybody knows, Dianne and I are not in the same room. I live in Chicago and she lives in Rochester. So I can't see her or anything. Because that happens in podcasts sometimes, like everybody's sitting in like a studio or something, but we don't live near each other.
We are not
so
that cool.
We can't, we're experiencing this conversation just the way as everybody is experiencing this conversation. It's just most of the people can't respond.
Right.
I wish they could though. That would be fun.
Oh my God, that would be fun. So this comes from my girl, Ashley, and she actually emailed us at badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com. And she emailed a couple times and said that we should just call this episode Things That Ashley Hears because she
God, that's funny.
Gets I don't know. She just has these people telling her all this crazy information. So thankfully she thinks to email and be like, is this right? Doesn't seem right. So this one's a good one. Hi, ladies. I am absolutely obsessed with your podcast. It has helped me out tremendously and helps me ease my anxieties about certain things in so many ways. I recently saw my pediatrician and she caused me a bit of a confusion, and I'm hoping you can please clear up for me. I have a decent freezer stash of milk from the months of November to January. Now, in context, this was sent in March, like mid-March. My baby turned 7 months today, so I pumped when she was 4 to 6 months old, if I can do the math. I asked my pediatrician if it would be okay if I made bottles for daycare using that milk if needed, and she said that it was not a good idea to do that. She said she doesn't recommend to feed 3-month-old frozen milk because it loses nutritional value. She also said that the milk my 7-month-old needs now is made up of different stuff. I know you ladies mentioned that milk adapts as the baby grows, so I'm wondering if you don't mind expanding on that. She said the only thing she would use freezer milk for is for milk baths and I guess other uses. Is there any studies on freezer milk and nutritional value? Oh, last thing. She said that previously frozen milk may upset my baby's tummy. I have so many questions. I don't want to be scared to use my frozen stash, but I kind of am right now. My baby has been exclusively breastfed up to this point. I sent breast milk to daycare during the week. Would my frozen breast milk be better than formula? I'm pretty sure I know your answer, but I'm so curious. I know a few other moms who are intimidated about frozen milk as well, so I hope to enlighten them. Thanks for all you do. You help so many women every single day.
Okay, I have a question.
This is the beginning of our myths episode.
So, yeah, here we go. Buckle your seatbelts. If you've never been through a myths episode, get ready. So I have a question. We have like the shittiest maternity leave in this country, right? We have like so many people going back to work at like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 months, whatever. Insane amounts of time. So all of these people are upsetting their babies' stomachs and using frozen milk that they shouldn't be using, and it's damaging the babies.
And obviously pumping for no reason because you're not supposed to use frozen milk for them, according to this pediatrician.
Why are we pumping to begin with?
Right.
If you can't use it.
What kind of sense does this even make?
Because it doesn't even make any sense. People, I swear to God, pediatricians do not listen to the words coming out of their damn mouths.
So, of course, I answered her. I was like, there's nothing wrong with your frozen milk. Just like anything that's frozen, it does lose some nutritional value. However, it does not lose that much. So it is okay to use. And I kind of went on about, the bullshit, whatever. But I also told her, because a lot of people do ask about, okay, what if I pumped milk a couple of months ago? Can I use it? I know it's going to be different nutritionally for my baby and blah, blah, blah. It's not that much that's going to make such a huge difference for your baby. People use frozen milk all the time.
Yeah, when we talk about how milk changes as babies get older, how milk changes when it's frozen, things like this, what we're doing is sharing scientific information. We're like, how cool is the body that it can make milk for a 1 week old and then a 4 week old and a 6 month old? That's different. That meets their nutritional needs at that time. We're not saying that you can't, that you're damaging your baby if you feed breast milk from a different month. We're simply saying, look how cool this is.
Yeah.
But we also live in a society where like you need to pump and go to work and you're totally fit. Your baby is going to be totally fine. You know what's you know what doesn't, you know what is not good for, I don't want to say that. It's better than formula. Like way better.
Yeah.
It's like not even, it's like the teeniest, tiniest second to, milk out the boob. It's perfect. It's wonderful. Like it's great. It's good.
I mean, there are parents out there and, they deserve some sort of award that exclusively pump. What are all those babies like nutritionally damaged? Come on.
Yeah, like which is it? It's like, I'm sorry, I put an animal cracker in my mouth because I thought I was going to be able to go longer without talking. But guess who's here? I'm here. Never goes very long without talking. I don't remember what I was going to say.
But it really, and one of the things that I also try to remind parents, if you are somebody who is feeding at the breast and also giving frozen milk because you went back to work, you're also giving, your baby's also getting milk right at the breast that is, nutritionally significant for that moment in time. So it's mixing in with the other milk too. Like there's a balance there. It's all okay. And it's all better than only just giving your baby formula.
Yeah, here's what I was going to say. We're constantly like, okay, breast milk, give your baby breast milk, do whatever you can do to give your baby breast milk. Oh, but not in all the other times when, most people will be living through, like not if you have to pump, which most people are going to have to because they're going to have to go to work. It doesn't make any sense. Like pumped breast milk is like fantastic. Like do that. That's wonderful. Frozen milk, do it.
Yeah. So that is our first myth. And thank you so much for getting us started off here, Ashley, and by sending us the email. The other thing I love about this, and we get this a lot too, and I never usually talk about how great it is, but I love how she's like, is there any studies on freezer milk and nutritional value? I love that our listeners are learning what they need to learn so that they can arm themselves with the information that they need. I love that. So
yeah, despite what
amazing.
The doctor said.
Right.
It's like, oh, now, and then we're starting to learn like, oh, we might need to double check what our doctors say. We might need to get an opinion on somebody who's maybe more of an expert in a certain area than they are. Because you know what? There are people out there that are more of an expert in an area than your doctor is.
Yeah.
But we are like not trained to think about this. We're like, doctor is almighty, knows everything. No, unfortunately not. When it comes to breastfeeding and other things too, but breastfeeding for sure.
All right. So you got one too, right? Because we usually go back and forth. So
yeah, I do. Okay. So I'm just taking mine from like questions that I've gotten over the past couple of months.
Yeah, that's usually where they come from.
That is where they come from. Mm-hmm. I'm not making this up is what I'm trying to say. And some people are like, no, there's no way that somebody like thinks these things or whatever.
Oh, yes, there is.
But there are. And there's people out there telling people this stuff. So somebody, and this is like, I can understand where somebody would be concerned about this. So somebody, because some of them are understandable, you just need more information. Some of them are super outlandish. And then people are questioning for a reason. They're like, is that really true? Because it doesn't sound right. But this one is kind of understandable. So somebody messaged me asking saying that she had been avoiding comfort nursing because she was afraid it was going to give her an oversupply.
Aww.
So she was like, I don't know if I should leave him on the breast, if that's just going to make my body just like keep making too much milk. Like, the body, because the baby's at the breast so long, the body will think that there's more babies nursing and then we'll just keep making more milk and then you'll end up with an oversupply. But that is not the case. Comfort nursing is part of breastfeeding.
Mm-hmm.
It's all part of the same package, and it's very natural, and it will not give you an oversupply. Because the baby is not, when they're comfort nursing, they're not actually like taking milk out.
Yeah, I was just about to say, they're just kind of like suckling.
Or just sitting there.
Non-nutritive sucking is what we call it. Like, it just...
And that is actually good for maintaining your supply, but it won't give you an oversupply.
It's not like they're pumping the breast. Like, it's... Yeah,
if
it's
you're
totally
constantly removing too much milk, then you'll end up with an oversupply.
Right.
But comfort nursing is, I think we talk about comfort nursing as if it's this kind of separate animal. And it's like, should we do it? Should we not do it? Do they need to do it? Do they not need to do it? Like, at what age should they stop doing it? And it's like, comfort nursing is not a separate thing. Like, just being at the breast, whether they're actually swallowing milk or not, is what babies are wired to do. They're wired to be comforted there. It's not like an extra thing. It's not just a thing that you can add or subtract from other types of breastfeeding. It's just all one thing. It's just as natural and just as normal as drinking the milk. Sleeping there and not drinking is just as normal.
That always makes me think of when people say, "Oh, the baby's just using me as a pacifier." I hate that. It makes my skin crawl. And I hear all the time people say that, "Oh, the baby's just using me as a pacifier at that point." And it's like, oh my God.
Right. Because we have I feel like we're just like, we have this idea in our culture or something that like babies are manipulating us, that we need to create distance, that we need to, don't comfort them too much, comfort them just enough. But then if it's too much, it'll make them, manipulative and needy. Yeah. Like, and it's actually so completely the opposite. It's not even just wrong. It's like the complete opposite. The more that you are meeting their needs, the more that you are, fostering that dependence on you, this is what leads to independence later.
Yes.
I don't know why people expect babies to be independent. Like, they're
I know.
we just don't, and it comes back to, I think we just don't understand babies.
I had this conversation with one of our listeners that did a consult with me not too long ago. And, our baby's 3 months old, and she was getting pushback from family members, we need more. The baby won't nap because she's with you all the, she always naps, falls asleep at the breast, and she shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, she is a baby. Like, she is 3 months old. Why are we expecting her to be able to live like an adult?
Yeah, and we do expect that.
You
should be able to just go to sleep on your own. You should be able to stop crying on your own. I'm not going to comfort you or provide you any nurturance, because then you'll just get used to it.
Yeah.
And by the way, independence is an illusion. Like, nobody is independent. We're humans. We are dependent on each other. We're social creatures. This is how we are supposed to be. Creating distance from your babies and not fostering those needs early on, that doesn't lead to healthy adults. That doesn't lead to anything that you want for your kids. There's emotional consequences, psychological consequences, higher rates of depression and anxiety, substance abuse, and all these things.
And do you really want to be disconnected from your teenager?
Yeah. Why don't we want our children to need us?
If you don't foster that relationship with them early, you don't have that relationship with them later.
That's true. Yeah, when they really need it.
Right.
When they're really trying to figure out the world, they're not going to come to you.
And that's kind of one of the things that I was trying to tell, this listener that I was doing this consult with. I was like, my daughter, and it's, my boys too, I'm connected to, obviously, but it's different with my daughter. And like, I'm very connected to my kids, and they're older teens, and there's no way we would have that relationship. I firmly believe we would not have that relationship if it didn't start when they were super young, like babies, infants young. Like, if you just don't have that, and then you can't start fostering that when they become, 14, 15 years old, and they're starting to struggle trying to figure out their world. You can't just go, oh, now we can have a close relationship. No, it doesn't work like that.
Right. Now that you're an adult, now we can have an adult relationship. Nah, it doesn't work like that.
Mm-mm. No. And that kind of leads me to my next one, in a way, was I had a family, baby's 3 days old, and they said, but we were told that the baby shouldn't sleep at the breast. Like, I dare you.
That was on my list too.
Oh, was it?
Yes, because it comes up so much.
Oh my gosh. And it's like, I dare you to try not to get your 3-day-old baby to not sleep at the breast.
Yeah. I mean,
like, if you can do that, you belong in a medical journal somewhere, because you cannot get your 3-day-old to not sleep at the breast. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. And then your baby will be in a mental institution later. Just kidding. I'm totally just kidding.
But still, like, that's just part of it. It is part of the nurturing. Is that's where they're safe. That's where they're comfortable. That's where they doze off. It just happens. But if you let them do that, then they're going to think that that's what they can do, because they're manipulating you, right? Like,
right.
No,
it's all part of that. Yeah. There's so much of this. There's so many aspects to come at this whole, that this larger problem of not wanting to form attachment with babies, wanting to create detachment.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes from, don't let your baby use you as a pacifier. Don't let them fall asleep at the breast. Don't answer them when they're crying. Right. I mean, it's insane. It's actually insane. This is like symptoms of a very, very sick culture.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you can't tell me that, like, you walk around your life and around this world and think that you're looking at healthy adults. Because this type of parenting has been very, very popular. Mm-hmm. This has been the kind of main form of, cry it out, don't comfort them, don't answer them, And when I walk around my life, of course I have friends and all that, but like you look at people, like, we've all got issues, right? But I look around the world and I'm like, this isn't, like, maybe we should try something else.
This isn't
or
working.
I'll just look at myself, like, maybe we can just do something else. Maybe we'll just try it. Try something else. Why don't we try, what child development tells us, what like science tells us about babies, nature tells us about babies, and, like, foster those needs. Let's see what they do. If they're coming to your breast and they're falling asleep and they keep doing that over and over again, let's just stop for a second and be like, maybe that's what is helping. Maybe that's helping them sleep. Maybe that's making them feel safe and comforted.
Mm-hmm. So should we do our ads?
Oh my God. Okay.
Abby's putting a buzzkill on my myths episode, everybody.
I am?
No, I'm just kidding. Now we're all like, oh, the myth. All the babies are abused. No, they're not abused.
No, I mean, that's not the thing. Yeah, it's like you're going to end up with an adult, one way or the other. It's just like, why don't we?
It really just, it does fuck people up. And that's what I was telling, I was telling this one, listener that I was doing the consult with, because a lot of the guidance that is being offered to her is from a grandparent. And I was like, but back when she had kids, that was like a business transaction. You had a baby, you fed them, you changed them, you put them down. Like, that's what happened. And that's how those kids were brought up. There wasn't any warmth and comfort there.
I have to tell a story. Should I tell the story? I'll tell a story after our ads.
Okay.
So just hang on. For my amazing story.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by Original Sprout. Original Sprout carries safe, effective, and pediatrician-tested shampoos, conditioners, styling, and body care products produced and packaged in California, USA. The Reef Safe Face and Body Sunscreen is SPF 27 and made with 10% non-nanoparticles of natural zinc for broad spectrum protection against both UVA and UVB rays. The gentle formula won't clog pores and is safe for babies, children, and adults. Protect your skin from damage from the sun for long-term skin health. All of Original Sprouts products are paraben and phthalate free, vegan, and cruelty free. Their proprietary formulas contain nourishing extracts from fruits, vegetables, and flowers that the whole family can enjoy. Made for babies, perfect for grown-ups too. Check out the entire line at originalsprout.com and use code BADASS for 25% off of your order. That's originalsprout.com, code BADASS for 25% off. And today's episode is also brought to you by Fairhaven Health. Do you love lactation tea but hate the taste? Most lactation teas have an earthy flavor that some people do not find refreshing. Fairhaven Health Nursing Time Tea is a caffeine-free, all-natural herbal lactation tea with a light lemon taste that you can enjoy. Nursing Time Tea is made with herbs such as fennel seed, goat's rue, and blessed thistle that have been used for centuries to support healthy milk supply and soothe an upset tummy. All ingredients are high quality, organic, wild-crafted, and contain no preservatives or additives. Nurture yourself and your milk supply with Nursing Time Tea. It can be made hot or cold, which is awesome for when you forget about it, which I still do, and I don't even have babies. It's a great way to maintain your hydration while supporting your milk supply. Head to Fairhaven Health, that's FAIRHAVEN health.com, and use code BADASS for 15% off of your purchase. Fairhavenhealth.com, code BADASS for 15% off. And all of our sponsors and the promo codes can be found in the episode description under the title of this episode, wherever you listen to podcasts. And you can find it on badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com, on our show notes, or on our sponsor page, and at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com. You will find further information about things we talk about in this episode, our breastfeeding resources, all of information that you need to schedule your one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne.
Okay, what's your story?
And now I have a story. So I'm every once in a while I get really into like trashy TV to take my mind off the world.
Oh.
And so I'm in the middle of watching The Bachelor.
Oh my God.
I don't know, whatever. I don't even remember his name. Oh, Ben. It's whatever Ben's season is. And so one of the ladies that makes it to the end, to the, whatever, she has two young kids, like a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. And so he goes over to her family, and he meets the kids and all this. And the 2-year-old is like exhausted. Like, it's the whole day of like filming. I'm sure the kid is just like overwhelmed and tired. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to take her upstairs and put her down for a nap. So, and the guy goes with her. I don't know why. But they're like both go upstairs to this room. She's crying. She's screaming. She's crying. She's like totally off the wall bonkers, like melting down. She puts her in her crib and she goes, okay, let's just she'll just go to sleep if we just leave. And so they walk out and shut the door. And I'm like, okay.
How'd
there
that
you
work
have
out
it
for them? Yeah.
That's it. That's what people, this is what people are told to do. And this is what is so common in our culture. I'm thinking like, oh, like she'll go upstairs and she's going to have to be up there for a little while because she's going to have to like lay with the,
rocker.
She's going to have to rock her, lay with her, do something
Yeah.
like that to get her to sleep. And then that's an opportunity for the dude to like talk to her parents or whatever. You all right over there?
Yeah, my coffee was stuck to my coaster. My coffee cup was stuck to my coaster. So then I picked up my coffee cup and my coaster went
Oh, and it
slam.
had with the like suction.
It just all
creates
my
like
shit's dirty. It's just sticky.
Oh,
you know?
gross.
I know. Clean my coaster.
So yeah, so this is just the norm, just normal. Let's just leave her. She'll just fall asleep if we just get out of here.
Right. And I mean, was the
But
kid
then
still
I'm thinking,
screaming
like,
when they
oh my
closed the
God.
door?
Yeah.
Mm.
Wait, what did you say?
Was the baby still screaming when they
Oh
closed the door?
yeah. Oh my God, screaming her head off.
Oh
She was
my
like
gosh.
way over the. She was like really, like overtired, like
Yeah.
how they get when they're overtired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I kind of have to go, oh right, okay. This is like most people don't lay down with their kids. Like Exley's going to be 8 in a couple of months, and he still doesn't really go. He doesn't go to sleep unless I'm laying next to him. Jack does. Jack maybe even did it. No, he didn't at 8. No, I don't know. They just get used to it. At some point, Jack was like, you don't have to be in here anymore. And I was like, oh, okay.
Well, I mean, we typically don't fall asleep by ourselves.
No. And I know there's people out there that are like, I fall asleep better when there's nobody in my bed. Okay, fine. I get that. Like, that. But there's still usually people around, or there's like some sense of, connection to other humans. Like, we're not just like tigers.
Or there's something else. Like I've got, if my husband's not there, the dogs are there. Or, I've got sound machine on, or I can watch TV, or I'm looking at my phone, or I'm interacting on social media, or, something that is putting me in a headspace where I'm falling asleep. We don't just lay in a dark room, completely quiet, with nothing and no other interaction with anybody or anything.
And really upset.
Right. And really upset and fall asleep.
Well, I mean, and she probably did. She probably passed out from just like, this is why people think that it works. Because we do things like cry it out, because they do. They give up and pass out, or they get, they realize that no one's coming. And so they just are like, oh God, let me just go to sleep because this is scary. But then we go, oh, they fell asleep. Oh, that worked really well.
Yeah.
But we don't think about like what that means for, the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And how that is, when they're forming relationships later on in life too. I mean, like these things have consequences, like lifelong consequences. No pressure.
I know. It's just your baby. All right. I have one that is so dumb, there's no consequences to it. And this was told to me, or asked me by somebody who got this information from a nurse in the hospital, a mother-baby nurse, before they discharged from the hospital, was told her, be careful with the baby suckling at the breast because the wet mouth and the nipple can cause thrush.
Wait, what?
I can't even say it without laughing. Be careful with the baby at the breast because the baby's wet mouth on the nipple can cause thrush. Came from a nurse who should be trained in anything medical. Not everything medical, but you would think the basis of how somebody gets thrush would.
Yeah.
That's not how you get it.
That's like, be careful when you're chewing food because the saliva mixing with what you've put in your mouth can give you mouth sores. That's actually like what's supposed to be happening.
I was like, what? I think thank goodness that I have to wear a mask still in the medical environment, because there are times where I'm like, what? And I just kind of look at it and I'm like, what? No, I don't know who told you that. I don't even try to hide my.
Yeah.
Because I think that's ridiculous. Every single breastfeeding parent would have thrush right now in the world.
Well,
if that was the case.
That just doesn't even make sense. She doesn't even understand biology.
It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you're a Seinfeld watcher. You were a Seinfeld watcher, right?
Yeah.
The one where the girl goes, yeah, I got gonorrhea from riding on a tractor in my bathing suit. That's what my boyfriend told me.
Yes.
And it's that's the tractor story? Yeah, I got it from riding. My boyfriend told me I got gonorrhea from riding on a tractor in my bathing suit. It's this is what this reminds me of. I got thrush by letting my baby breastfeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Their wet mouth gave me thrush. No, it didn't. No.
Oh my God.
That's not what happened. Yeah.
Well, yeah, along those lines, I have one along those lines.
Oh, good.
Not that line of myth, but just ridiculousness. If you go too long in between feedings, your milk could curdle.
What, it's you're walking around with a refrigerator on?
Yeah. Like it's a dairy product. I mean, milk, if you leave milk out or you don't drink milk for a long time, it goes rotten and it curdles. So wouldn't it be logical to think that breast milk, if sat too long, would just curdle?
In the breast.
In the breast.
In your body. Oh my gosh. But if you feed your baby too frequently, they're not getting enough milk.
Right. That means you don't have enough milk.
But if you don't feed them frequently enough, then you're giving him curdled milk.
That's
Is
right.
that
Then it's rotten. Yeah.
It's rotten. It comes out in these big,
It comes
huge
out
clumps.
in chunks. I was just gonna say, yeah.
That is so strange.
I know. And actually, speaking of chunks, if you get like a clogged milk duct and you like release the clogged duct, you can see the clog come out. Like it's like a chunk of milk and it comes out like a worm.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, but it's okay. They can just eat it. It's fine.
It's like dries. Yeah. It gets all dried up.
Yeah. It's really gross. But some people are like, oh my God, that was coming out. Are they okay? Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
You can just let them nurse it out. It's actually good because they're like getting it out.
One of my other ones, this might have come from actually from the baby shouldn't sleep with the breast. I don't know. This poor mom had like all sorts of crazy stuff that was told to her. She was a patient I actually saw like face to face, and she was told, so she had fed her baby, and this was in the hospital still. So we're talking like a 2-day-old baby. They were in the hospital. She had just fed the baby, and the baby had that milk drunk look. Like they were just like laying there like, ugh, and with her arms out and her head back and all this stuff. And the nurse came in and told her to close the baby's mouth or the baby would become a mouth breather. And so the mom was like freaked out. She's like, do I just like stand there while she sleeps and make sure her mouth is closed? And I'm like, no. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life.
I don't know. I just had a flash of like something coming on the market of like how to keep your baby's mouth shut while they sleep.
Like so one of those refrigerator locks.
Yeah. Like yeah. It'll attach to like the top of their nose and then the bottom of their chin, and it'll keep their mouth shut, and then they won't become mouth breathers, and it'll be like the best selling product.
Like that was, this is so strange. But
That's
this is kind of this stuff, that and like the thrush thing, like these are mother baby nurses that are giving this information. And in these situations, and it's like, are you telling this to every single patient you have? Because that is really spreading a lot of misinformation and a lot of anxiety provoking information that you are passing on to these new parents. Stand there and watch your baby sleep and make sure they're not putting their mouth open. Like, you
That's
just freaked that mother out. And she's got a 2-day-old baby, and she thinks she has to stand there and watch her baby sleep to make sure her mouth is not open. Come on. Like, that doesn't even logically make any sense.
It doesn't. It doesn't even make sense. That's what most of this doesn't make sense. And how come when people say these things, they're not like, oh, that sounds really weird coming out of my mouth. Like, that sounds really weird.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well, and also, so I have one, and I can't even remember where this came from, but icing, if you put ice on your breasts, like if you need to ice your breasts for some reason, that your milk is going to be too cold and the baby won't like it.
Yes, I heard that one too.
What the hell?
I heard that too, and I was like, no, that is not a thing. Yeah. I heard that too, not too long ago, because I always tell, especially when the milk first starts coming in and you're super full and engorged, like ice is what you're supposed to do because a lot of it is swelling. So I'm like, ice, feed the baby, ice the breast. And I had a mom say, well, then I tried to feed the baby after that, and I think the milk was too cold. And I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, you cannot change like your inner body temperature by like icing a part of your body.
No.
And it doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's
just because you're cold doesn't mean like your core temperature is like so right. You'd be dead.
Your milk is body temperature. Like that's just
which is even when you feel cold, you're like, "Ooh, I'm cold." That doesn't mean that like your core temperature inside your body is like different.
And I used to, when my first son was born, I used to run. So when my first son was born, I stayed at my parents' house for like 6 months because we had just moved back from North Carolina. So he was born in July. So we stayed there until like end of December. And I ran. I was a runner. So I would get up early in the morning and I would run before the baby even got up to eat usually. And it was, winter in upstate New York is not pretty most of the time. And I would come back from my runs and like my eyelashes would literally be frozen. Like sometimes I would have like icicles on my
crystals
eyelid.
on your or in like
crystals.
the hair of your nose.
Yeah, I know. It's just like freezing. And I remember my mom being like, "You cannot feed that baby. You are too cold." And she didn't mean it like the milk was going to be cold. I never even thought of that.
Yeah.
But I think she thought like putting the baby up against my skin because I was so cold. But I wasn't like I was, obviously I didn't run naked. Like I had running gear on. So it's not like I was.
Well, your body is still warm. Even when you're cold, your body is warm. If your body is not warm at like a normal temperature, you're dead.
But I was always like, I mean, kind of contradicted
beyond
whatever
like a
my
normal
said.
few degree fluctuation, which can happen. But I mean, like if you're actually like cold to the touch, like an ice cube, you're like dead.
Yeah. I was like, it's fine. Because I used to just contradict whatever my mother told me anyway. So I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Just give me the baby. But it was, I never thought about like, oh yeah, my milk is cold. Like it never, but I'm also one that doesn't even like, people ask me too, like, should I heat my baby's milk up? Like when they pump it and, put it in the fridge or whatever.
Yeah.
Should I heat it up? I'm like, they'll take it cold. Give it to them cold. A
Right,
lot of babies don't care. Yeah. A lot of babies don't even care. So I think it's us that are like, oh my God, they can't have anything cold milk. They can't have cold milk. Yeah, why not?
I know. We drink cold things. And we don't like when we start giving them like water or something, you don't warm it up.
Right. Oh, according to that one myth, they're getting it chunky. So
yeah,
gross.
You're already giving them curdled milk. So
I know. You're already giving it to them curdled. What the hell? Why has it got to be warm? God.
All right, I have a couple more.
Okay. I have one more, but we could do it. Like you could do another one and then I'll do mine.
Okay. So, I just heard this, like I don't even remember where I read it. So somebody said that once you have a baby, if you're breastfeeding or whatever, like you won't want to go back to work. And like, it bothered me. It rubbed me the wrong way because there's this whole thing, of like stay-at-home moms are better than working moms, or working moms are better than stay-at-home moms, or whatever fucking bullshit like people try to, pit people against each other with. And it bothered me because some people want to go back to work. And like you shouldn't feel guilty about that. Like if you had a baby and you still want to go to work, like do it. Like, do what you want to do. Just do what you want to do. It irritates me that, like, we have to have this whole thing. And then telling people that they're not going to want to. Right. Oh, you're not going to want to. You're not going to want to go back to work. Well, you don't know what someone's going to want.
I know. Don't tell somebody.
Some people find it very hard to be away from their children, but they feel really passionately about what they do, and they do it. Mm-hmm. And they should do it. And if you don't want to and you're able to, then don't. It's like really easy. Everyone should just shut the hell up.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah. That's really the basis of all myth episodes, is everyone needs to shut up.
The hell. Yeah.
Oh. All right. And then the other one. Okay. No, go ahead.
Should I go?
Yeah.
So this also came from our emailer because she emailed me again. And was like, I have one more suggestion for you.
We really do have a whole episode of her myth.
I know. She said, I heard this from multiple friends and grandparents as well, but I'm sure you have too. What is your opinion on putting oatmeal or rice cereal directly in the baby bottle to help them feel more satiated? My baby is almost 8 months now, and I was told that the reason she has difficulty napping in the afternoon, early evening is because she may still be hungry, and to feed her more satiating foods so she can eat solids now. Since she won't eat it off a spoon in high quantities yet, so she suggested I put it in the baby bottle, change the nipple to a faster flow so it doesn't clog. I personally am not going to do this because it just sounds silly, but I know so many moms who are told this, and I really wanted to share it with you. I sometimes offer an extra 2 ounces in a bottle if I feel empty and my baby still seems like she could eat a little bit more. And then she kind of goes on to say that, like, it sounds like it's ridiculous advice. And she kind of got that from the podcast, from listening to us. This is something we hear all the time. Put some cereal in the bottle. Put some cereal in the bottle.
Yeah. It's
dangerous.
It's totally dangerous. Do not do that.
It is dangerous. It doesn't work. One of the things too, that I think is totally lost on most people, including the medical professional world, because a lot of times people will say, put a little cereal in the bottle if the baby's got really bad reflux, because it'll thicken their feedings and help it stay down.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, that's bullshit. Second of all, joke's on everybody else, because if you're using breast milk for your baby's bottles, there is an enzyme in the breast milk that actually breaks down carbohydrates, and it'll just break that shit down anyway. So it doesn't even thicken the milk because the milk breaks it down because it's amazing. So it's kind of like it's not worth, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work except to put your baby in danger.
Right. And it's not going to like satiate that, a little teaspoon of cereal, and that's going to like satiate them in their bottle. Your baby's not napping at daycare because they don't want to. Like, that's what it comes down to.
There's all kinds of screamy babies and strangers around.
It's overstimulating. It's an overstimulating.
Not to make you feel guilty or anything.
No, but it just is what it is. Like, even if they're at a home babysit, like wherever they are, it's a different environment for them. And it might be changing. Plus, it might be a developmental thing. A lot of times babies at that age, especially, they're going through so many developmental changes. It impacts their nap routines. It impacts their sleep. Like, things just happen with babies. We expect them to be on these very particular routines. And when they're not, we're like, change their feeding. It's because of their feeding.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Not always. Not always because of the feeding. Not
usually.
No. So really try not to put, and when somebody says to you, put something else in the bottle and then alter the bottle nipple to make it comfortable. Like, if this was really something that was safe and okay, they would have something on the market for it. It's called a bowl and a spoon, and that's it. Like, come on. You should not be putting stuff in your baby's bottles. And I know that this is can be a hugely cultural thing, but we really know that this is not safe practice for babies. It is not, for a lot of reasons. 1 being choking, 2 being allergies, like 3 being that it's unnecessary. Like, there's just so much going on.
And if they do get over full and they pass out and go into a deeper sleep, then they're developmentally ready to do. This is a SIDS risk.
Yeah.
It just is. Don't do it.
No, don't do it. So that's a myth too. Don't put cereal in your baby's breast milk, and it doesn't even work.
Yeah. And my last one is just because somebody messaged me again, and we talk about this a lot, but you don't have to pump and dump when you're having your medical procedures.
No, you do not.
Just breastfeed. Somebody messaged me. They're getting their wisdom teeth out. We're told that they had to pump and dump for 72 hours.
72 hours for wisdom teeth?
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, no, don't just like, and thank God they asked, because they were kind of like, do I really need to do that? And no, just go home and nurse your baby.
I actually had somebody ask me this the other day. Again, came from a mother baby nurse, this information.
Oh my God.
And because it was her first visit at the office with me, and she asked about, actually, she was talking about how, she goes, it's kind of bad timing, but I'm in like 3 weddings, because it is wedding season now, right?
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm in like 3 weddings coming up, and actually in a month, I'm supposed to be going away for like a weekend with like a bachelorette party or whatever. And she was asking about, and I said, well, you can drink, right? Like, it's totally okay if you want to drink at these, weddings, bachelor parties, all that stuff. And she said, yeah, like, what is with that? Because what they told us in the hospital, what the nurse told us in the hospital was that I could have 1 drink every 2 hours, but if I had 4 drinks, I had to pump and dump my milk.
Ugh.
And I'm like, what?
What in the world?
And I'm like, no. And I was like,
that would be 4 drinks over an 8-hour period of time.
Who's even out that long?
I know. Who's out that long? And like, you're like, that first drink is like far metabolized out of your body even by then.
Right.
That doesn't even make any sense.
And I said, but I was concerned, and I'm like, I'm really glad we brought this up, because she was actually supposed to go away overnight without her baby for this bachelorette party. And I'm like, I don't want you to think that if you had 4 drinks during that time frame where you're going to not even be with your baby because your baby is home with with dad, and you are out at this bachelorette party for an overnight weekend or whatever, that you have to dump all that milk out. Like, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'm like, no. And she was like, oh, good. And I'm like, no, people just pull these numbers out of the air.
They do.
And it's like, no, we're not. No, don't ever dump. No, don't do that.
You can drink as much as you need to drink. Just have fun. Nurse your baby. If you can't take care of your baby because you're too drunk, then make sure somebody is there.
Mm-hmm.
Have a plan for that. That's the concern, is the safety of your baby.
Right. That's what I always tell people
because of your drunkenness, not because of your milk.
Yeah.
There is not all that. Your baby doesn't go from your mouth to your boob. That's not how it works.
Nope. And I will link our alcohol episode in case anybody has not heard that yet, because that is a really good one. It's our most popular episode. But that will give you.
I wonder if we should do that again. We should update it.
We should probably do it again. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you. And keep sending us myths. We love them.
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
as you
we'll
can
just
tell.
keep doing episodes every few months based on what you tell us. What people are telling you.
And have a good one. Bye.
Bye.